Okay, we're going to get this regular meeting of November 16th, 2020 started. Pledge of allegiance first.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Couple Zoomers were saying that. Okay, roll call, please. Leslie.
Mayor Laughlin,
Here.
Councilperson Sexton,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Dean,
Here.
Goodweiler,
Here.
Schulman.
Here. All right, we're going to start off with Library Director Nick Schumann will give us a report on the library in this weird year. So go ahead, Nick.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I don't think I can really present. Well, maybe I can try. Okay, can you guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for letting me speak. There are some things that I have to cover through the code, but I'll try and be fairly brief. As you know, this has been a weird year, but we actually had about 3/4 of a year that was pretty decent. I tried to reflect here what we actually ended up with, and also give a projection of where we were going, so you can actually get a little bit of a comparison as to how this year actually looked for the most part. Otherwise, they don't really mean much because, of course, they were lesser than what normally would have happened. I also want to talk about what we're going to be looking at over the next year, because, of course, it's going to continue to be an odd year coming forward. So I'll get right down to the stats. Here you can see what I mean in regards to a projection. Yes, we were down considerably from prior years, not allowing people to come into the building for 3 of the 12 months. But otherwise, we were on pace to do a pretty good year. You may ask, we have actually started letting people come in to browse and use computers again by appointment. Of course, we're questioning that a little bit right now. But we haven't advertised it a lot just because of that upward trend that we're seeing. Given that our population tends to be a little older, we want to be careful about, we want to be careful more than not. Oops. Here's our circulation and our collection size. The circulation is the bars, the collection size is the line and dots. Again, you can see a drop at the end with circulation, though we were actually posed to be up a little bit from the prior year. I've talked for several years about library services shifting from sort of a traditional check-in, check-out type of thing into other venues. So I do expect circulation to be a little bit lower than we did see about 10 years ago. During the pandemic, I have to admit, it's been a huge time draw for the staff, primarily the other staff. I don't do quite as much of it anymore myself, but so we're circulating about half of as many things, but every single one of those items that goes out is picked up and processed by staff. So it probably takes about 4 or 5 times longer for each of those items. Collection size will probably continue to drop as well, just to make room for other things that the community wants to see. For example, 2 of the areas that have seen drops over the last couple of years are DVDs and magazines. I mean, people just don't read magazines quite as much as they used to. We're seeing about 75% drop over about 10 years. So 250, 300 a year instead of 1,200. So of course, why would we spend money on them? Why would we spend the space on them? So we tend to see those go out or out of phase. Likewise, when was the last time you went to check out a DVD from Family Video or something like that? Again, DVD circulation just doesn't quite go on the way it used to. So we reduce, we don't buy as many, and we make room for something something that the community wants to see otherwise. Normally, right now, when we make space, normally in air quotes, that tends to be space to gather and work right now. That's the sort of trend in library services. As you can expect, this is electronic use. You can see a big jump at the end. We were trending towards about 20% up, but that with the pandemic saw closer to 30% up. In addition to the physical collection that you saw here, I believe it's 16,000. I've got notes in front of it. There's also about 70,000 electronic items that people can check out through Bridges, which is our online consortium that we're part of. At the start of the pandemic, we also started subscribing to a service called Canopy, which allows you to stream video. The items there tend to be more of the, they are very highly regarded. They have a lot of award-winning movies, a lot of documentaries, so very highbrow type of stuff. They also have access to something that I really love called the Great Courses, which is basically a college course, a huge variety of them taught by primary university professors. I've just been going through a professor's course from Duke University on investing. So it's been wonderful to watch, and it's great to have that for free. For kids, they actually have some really cool animated picture books, and I need to get back into that with my daughter just because they're so well done. This is something I'm required to show you, or required to provide you, which is the physical collections, additions, and removals. I don't really see that there's really much interest here. There's nothing interesting overall. We did actually see a little bit of a higher number of reduction just because of COVID and having a little bit of time towards the start, but overall it wasn't that much different. So I don't think that they really weren't just that interesting. Program attendance was down again, of course, because of the pandemic. But then again, we were actually projecting for a really good year, about second down from where we were the highest ever we've had in 2017. As part of our strategic plan, we're actually focusing on adding a lot of learning and entertainment opportunities for people like adults and for teens, building on that youth programming that we have so much already. Even with the pandemic, we actually improved on our adult programming this year. We had a higher number of participants than we did in years prior. I always bring this up. These haven't actually updated since you saw them last year because they haven't put the numbers together for 2019 yet. These are libraries that are plus and minus 500 population of West Branch, to give you kind of an idea. When I talk about things being up and down, we're a very active location. So just to put that into perspective, I have, to be honest, I have no idea how this is going to hold up with the pandemic. I think all libraries are having a little bit of struggle, as are all businesses. Nobody just wants to go into a building. And, you know, we've actively been trying to do that too, to prevent that on our end. So who knows what this is going to look like in the next couple of years. Programming, you can see we have a huge draw. We're usually in the top 2 or 3% in the country, based on our community size. We do programming attendance that's akin to a community of 10 to 15,000, depending on the place. Circulation is not a huge focus of ours, just because that's not a huge focus of the community as a whole. So of course it's something that we do and we're happy to do, but it's not something that people really are, that's a really part of our mandate within West Branch. Again, required to give you income and expenditures. This is income. There's not much to say here. We're primarily funded by the city since we're a city department. This county is steadily increasing this year due to our activity. This coming year, the one that we're in currently, we are expecting to see about 4,000 more, just to compensate for the increase in use that we've had as a percentage of the county. So we actually had a really good year in comparison to other county libraries. Expenditures, as typical, about 2/3 is provided towards staff and insurance and benefits. Our collections budget, the next biggest pie, hasn't changed really for about 6-7 years. And we don't really need to see much change there. Even with inflation, there's not much to that one. Building upkeep was actually a considerable a considerable amount higher because of two things. One, we created a teen room, and we'll be talking about that. That was from a memorial that we received, so we put about $5,000–6,000 into that. And then we actually had to replace a fire alarm panel, which is anything to do with our fire alarm system is extremely expensive. Even replacing a battery is a couple $100 and is annoying. But yeah, so the fire alarm panel went out, and that was about $5,500, which is, as I said, annoying because everything is very expensive. Otherwise, I'm required to talk a little bit about the building as a whole, and I'll just toss in that really there's nothing else that's going on with the building. It's doing pretty well. We did lose one tree in the derecho, otherwise no building problems. Otherwise, the tree didn't break; it just fell over. Had very little root structure. We're also losing another tree to death, and so we'll probably lose that one too. So other than not being able to grow trees, we don't really have much going on in terms of the building. I do want to talk a little bit about what we have coming up over the next year, and everything that we do comes back to our strategic plan. So I wanted to pop this graphic up. We're, of course, the first part in the orange section, we're trying to provide learning opportunities across the board for all ages. We have the best of luck with adult level programming, especially if somebody specifically requests a topic. So if there's something that you want to know about, or if you have a speaker that you think would be good, please let me know. We've had some great community presenters in terms of crafts and knowledge, and so that's been wonderful to have. The next upcoming event that we have is in January with a presenter who did a presentation to the state libraries on investing and markets and all that, and she was a great presenter. I mentioned the investing before through great courses, and that's kind of what kicked me into that. Was just how good of a presentation she did. We've been working hard too towards expanding our collaborations with community groups. This is in the second part, the Know Your Community. We've been working hard towards our collaborations, more so, of course, before the pandemic when we could actually work together directly. One of those direct goals has been to work with the community development group and as one of the community's providers for betterment of the community as a whole. So if you see me out there with the planners, that ended up being my role as part of the CDG. So that is actually a direct part of our strategic plan. The last one in the blue section talks about visiting a comfortable place. One of our best improvements that happened this year, we planned for it last fiscal year, is the addition of the Karen Fiesler Teen Room. Karen volunteered at the library for over 40 years, was wonderful to have whenever she came in. If you didn't have a chance to know her, she was just a wonderful person to have around. I'm thrilled that we found a place that has been so popular and that we could commemorate her with. It was a very popular area with teens, of course, usually being at maximum capacity after school. It also serves nicely as a secondary meeting room when school's in session and when teens aren't present. It has been popular enough that I think that once we kind of get back to normal and see gatherings again, we'll probably have to expand that out to allow for more for larger groups. Our other project, this is the diagram because we haven't completed it yet, provides a gathering space outside. The estimated cost for this is about $5,500, and I've got about half the funding through a grant. I do have another one out, but I haven't heard back yet. I hope soon. This works to several parts of our strategic plan. It provides sustainability, it provides sustainable green space. It sort of expands the library, allowing people to use our facilities and our services without having to really build onto the building. But it's been a really hard year for grants. So like I said, I'm hoping to hear back soon with one, but I'm not entirely confident on that one. And so the coming year, the rest of this fiscal year, we're going to probably continue by appointment for most of this year. Depending on how the virus goes, we'll increase how many at one time and decrease, but it'll probably be on this, that sort of thing. One of the last things that'll come in terms of recovery will be programming in person. It's just not going to happen where we're gathering a bunch of people together into a room to learn or have fun or whatever. We've had some luck with online programming. Becky still does classroom visits online, does her pajamas and preschool story times. We've had some adult programs online. I think everybody's suffering from a little bit of Zoom burnout. They're not nearly as much fun without a bunch of other people around, but we've had some luck with people because it's easier to get to. You don't have to cram a family into a car after dinner real quick to get to the library and miss bedtime and that sort of thing. So, we've had some luck there, and it's been nice for those of us that like to telecommute rather than drive and all that. I do mention outside, we had a great turnout for our first drive-in movie that we did with Melissa in October, and I'm looking forward to doing more of that in the spring and summer. Otherwise, if we can keep people spread while outdoors, maybe we can do some of that next year. We'll be doing a new strategic plan next year, which I love having. It's really a great way to see what our community wants from us, and from itself as a whole. So I love doing that process. And lastly, with the pandemic, we're just going to try and help the community however we can. We just today got access to a service that provides online tutoring and writing assistance, and I posted it on Facebook. We're going to be writing articles and really advertising that over the next few days. But beyond that, we're also just keeping our eye out for how we can help people get through. So yeah, that's all I have for the annual report. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions, anyone?
You could have a copy of the actual report in your packet.
I'd like to say thank you, Nick, for the work. I mean, it's been a difficult year, and you seem to have pulled off some amazing things, you and staff. And I think we have a library to be very, very proud of. And so congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
And the pots, the planters downtown, you did a really good job. So thank you for stepping up on that. I saw you out there in some pretty hot afternoons watering.
All ones are supposed to light up. I'm kind of sad that they're not as luminous as I thought they'd be. So
it still looks okay. It looks good. Thank you. All right. Thanks for the report, Nick. Hearing no questions, we're going to move on. Item E is public comment. Is anyone here to speak publicly to the council? Hearing none. That wasn't a very good chance, but that's okay. We will move on to item F. The consent agenda consists of the city council meeting minutes of November 2nd, a liquor renewal license for the Down Under, a resolution 1950 approving a $1,500 contribution to the West Branch Community Development Group for assistance in funding expenses related to the Christmas Pass ice skating rink, and the claims report. Can I have a motion to approve those items? Nick? Jerry will second. Can you hear me, Leslie? Okay.
Mayor, I had an update for resolution 1950. Late Friday afternoon, I got a message from Jesse Simmons indicating that the ice rink for Christmas Pass is going to be postponed. So it may be appropriate to table that item until whenever they do it, which it may not be done this winter at all.
Talk was to do something early summer. The same ice skating rink. It's synthetic ice. It's PVC or something. I don't know.
So we may want to bring it back once that time comes, if that's still going to be the plan.
I don't know. I thought we'd get it done tonight and be over with it.
Up to council, however you want to handle it. I just wanted to let everyone know it's not going to be part of Christmas Pass.
The discussion was if and when this thing dies out this summer, this spring, we can have the ice skating rink again. was to do some sort of summer celebration. Thank you for doing your share on the COVID thing, celebration, I don't know, or recovery. They were going to do the ice skating rink at that time. Okay, I've got a motion to approve and a
I
second.
guess I got one
Go ahead.
question about
Yeah.
that then. Are we just gonna hang on to the money until they're ready to do it and give it to them? Or are we just gonna give them $1,500 that they can use at their leisure?
Redmond and
No,
I had a little conversation about that, excuse me. And he said if it was approved, we would just hold on until they asked for it. The other way would be just table it and then bring it back if they go ahead.
Yeah, they can send us an invoice if and when it gets purchased or rented, I mean, at that time.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I guess no money out at this time until it happens. If it
Yeah, they
doesn't,
would, that's
if
correct.
it doesn't happen, we don't get invoiced.
Do we want to have it as a resolution even in case it does not happen? A resolution that will never happen.
I don't know how that works.
You could just table it, couldn't you?
It's really not a problem to table it. I mean, frankly, we'll be able to react just as fast. And then we can actually have a resolution with language that better applies to the time frame. Because the resolution does kind of specifically say Christmas past.
Okay, I guess I'm okay with that. So we have a motion. Nick,
Motion to table.
want to modify your motion to
Yeah.
table
Motion to table number 3.
item?
Prove everything else, table number 3.
You got a second to,
I'll second
Just go ahead and vote. The
Go ahead and
motion is
vote.
to Only approve 1, 2, and 4.
Mayor, I'm sorry, can you tell me who second? I couldn't tell by the voice.
Jerry.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion to approve items 1, 2, and 4, tabling item 3 until further notice. Any discussion? All those, let's vote, Leslie.
Councilperson Goodweiler?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Shulman?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
All right. Item 1, ordinance number 781, amending title, Traffic and Vehicles, Chapter 65, stop or yield required. Give me a motion, someone. Colton and Jerry. Get that, Leslie?
Got it.
Discussion. Hearing none, let's vote. Please go ahead, Leslie.
Councilperson Miller?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Shulman?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Goodweiler?
Yes.
All right, third and final reading of ordinance 778, amending chapter 165 entitled zoning regulations. This is our corner lot. Corner lot, thank you.
Second.
Nick second, Colton motion. Discussion, anyone? Go ahead, Leslie.
Councilperson Miller?
Yes.
Goodweiler?
Yes.
Shulman?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes. Okay, we'll now open the floor for a public hearing. If anyone is here to discuss the proposed disposal sale of a piece of property for development. It is Lot B of Lot 4 of Rummel's Commercial Subdivision on Fawcett Drive. No one here is to discuss. We'll get a chance later. Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Resolution 1951, approving the disposal of Lot B of Lot 4 of Rummel's Commercial Subdivision and approving the purchase agreement with Newport Fabricating LLC. This is a resolution, so I need a motion,
moved.
please.
Second.
Colton and Jerry. I don't know why I'm looking at you. Everybody understand what this is? Selling 4 acres? Okay,
Kevin, did you prepare this purchase agreement?
The buyer's attorney did, and I reviewed it, yes.
And it's all good?
It's all good.
no discussion? We have a motion to approve. I think this is a great idea.
Good fit.
Good deal for us, good deal for everyone. So let's vote. Leslie, please.
Councilperson Miller,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Stulman.
Yes.
Welcome to West Branch.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Resolution 1952, approving the site plan of same said lot on Fawcett Drive of Newport Manufacturing. Oh, it's 145 Fawcett Drive. Where'd it go? I need a motion, please.
I'll move.
Tom and Nick will second. I have no comments. What was the zoning vote, Redmond? I didn't make that meeting. They,
Sorry about that. It passed.
yeah, obviously.
Yeah, the commission had no comments. There was a couple of questions regarding a fire hydrant and whether one fire hydrant that was indicated was enough, but Matt Goodell responded that there is a second one that's just north of the property on the gravel lane towards the water tower, and that would be sufficient. The second question Matt Goodell had, and that was in regard to how much water they would use and if that would adversely affect the sewer system. And their response was that they use very little water, and what water and sewer they would use would be just for restrooms. So the commission had no comments. They voted unanimously in favor of this.
All right, thank you. I have no comment. Looks like a good building, good location. Anyone else? This is a site plan approval. All right, Leslie, we'll vote.
Councilperson Dean,
Yes.
Goodweiler, Stulman,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
All right,
Welcome to Cedar County. Wouldn't go like this in Johnson.
that's why they're here. Yeah.
That's right.
Resolution 1953. Resolution hiring Logan Seelig for the full-time streets maintenance worker 1 position with the Department of Public Works. Give me a motion, someone.
So moved.
Tom Dean, Jody. This is a good hire. That's all my only comment. Any other comments?
One comment I would have is this the one? And I don't want to nitpick this because I know this job probably requires this kind of a wage, but is this the starting wage for this position?
Yeah. I mean, that's what we have as the starting wage. That's what we've had for that position for the last 2 hires.
Okay. Look at it. somebody's here for 30 years, they're gonna be getting paid a pretty good chunk, but
I think we upped that starting a few years ago. I can't remember. Okay, we got a motion to approve. So any other discussion? Let's vote, please, Leslie.
Councilperson Dean,
Yes.
Stulman,
yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
Yes.
All right. So he would be scheduled to start, I think it's December 1st, 21st. Correct?
Correct.
Welcome to the team, Logan. Oh, hi. All right. Resolution 1954. Consider approving the request of Acciona Wind Power North America LLC to rebate a portion of tax increment revenue.
So moved.
Second.
Colton and Nick?
This is when we vote yes, that means no, right?
No.
No,
No.
We changed it, so no. means
Okay.
no.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Can we have this conversation every time?
So I will advocate for this resolution to fail. I think I can say that.
Already printed in big bold
Yeah.
red letters.
Yeah. Yeah,
That means.
that's why I wanted to double check and make
If I were
sure.
voting, I will vote no.
So,
Can we get an explanation why we're voting no?
Yes, when
Yeah.
we had the lawsuit with this, part of the judgment was we had to every year had to take up the position of whether we would rebate give them any more rebates. So we're just following that ruling, and then doesn't mean we have to give them anything. We just have to.
The wording of the contract says we have to consider.
So yeah, the original
rebate.
contract said we had.
So we're considering it right now.
It didn't end. It didn't have an end date. It just said until you got to a certain amount of money, and you said keep going. So
I think there's 3 years left on
Yeah.
this. 3 years that could go into perpetuity
Yeah, but-
unless we get this lawsuit paid
Yeah.
for, and then maybe we could think about.
That's why we're not paying them, because we are paying on a lawsuit.
we already paid. That was from a couple years ago, but part of the ruling was we had to consider to appropriate it. Doesn't say we have to give them the money.
Well, actually, Jerry, they really never met the terms of
Correct.
the abatement.
100 employees never panned out.
What happened was we approved it in November, and then when they didn't do it, we took it back, and the court said we couldn't do that. But the court didn't say we had to pay any more money.
We just gotta do this dance. And we've talked to them and say, hey, sign something so we ain't gotta do this no more, because we're not gonna give you no more
We
money.
tried to talk.
And they said, why would we do that?
Might get counsel might feel sorry for you. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so I'm a no vote on this one. You ready to vote, Leslie? Go ahead.
Councilperson Miller,
Oh,
Goodweiler,
No.
Sexton,
No.
Stulman, Dean,
oh,
Okay. We met our obligation there.
I guess I do
Maybe it'll
want to say,
get
I do
better
want to
someday.
say this just so it's for public record.
Mhm.
They've been great partners with West Branch since the lawsuit. There's no ill feelings, but we're not gonna give them no money.
Yeah, we met with them and they, I love having them up there. They're a good company. Okay, we're gonna move on. Item 8, Resolution 1955. A consideration to approve the request of Casey's Marketing Company to rebate a portion of tax increment revenue. Motion someone. Jerry? Tom Dean, is that your hand up?
Yeah, well, it's scratched my ear, but let's go with it.
All right, how much is this for? I thought somewhere.
Around 35,000, and a little less. I guess I should look, I don't remember exactly.
So this is for,
33,900.
they built the road up there and we are paying them back for building that road for us, improving the street as part of their project. That's what this is all about. Any other?
Yeah, we must be doing this for 15 years. I see it goes all the way to 36.
Or if it gets paid off earlier, then there's a 500 something.
I think it was just five, was it just even
A
500,000?
little more maybe, but it's either the years or you get to the end, or you make the total payment, then it stops.
And is that adjustable yearly by the valuation?
Yep, so basically, we whatever increment we get, we give back to them. Or rebate back to them.
Percentage-wise, on a
15
percentage,
years?
Yeah,
36.
Well, at this rate, it's not going to get paid off.
Well,
that's the
34,000
risk,
almost
that's
a
the
year.
risk they take.
Yeah.
Yeah, net is 561, 348 or something.
Okay. All right, we got a motion to approve in a second. Any other discussion? Okay, Leslie?
Councilperson Sexton,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Stulman.
Okay, 2 or 3 more of these. Resolution 1956, considering the issue of whether EMV Holdings should be rebated the incremental tax revenues pursuant to the development agreement. Motion, someone.
I think that's what you just voted on.
No.
That was Casey.
It was Casey's.
Oh, okay.
I didn't do it yet.
So moved.
Colton and Nick.
This is up to 15,000 a year for 10 years, and it's split at 70-30. So she gets 70, we get 30% of whatever is collected, and based on the numbers that we saw from the assessor, they are going to get the 15,000, and we're going to get some money out of it. I think the total is like 21 or 22,000, so we'll get like 6 or 7,000, and she'll get 15.
What is our tip asking on this thing? 21?
We asked for the whole
All available.
all available
All available.
tip, and then when we pay, we do the split.
Right.
Same with the next one, will be the same 70-30 split.
Okay. Go ahead, Leslie.
Councilperson Miller,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Stulman.
Yes.
Item 10, Resolution 1957, consideration to approve request of the Meadows Development to rebate a portion of tax increment revenues.
Moved.
Jerry and Colton.
Is this to help? Is this just giving it back, or
No.
is this
Right, for the
for the
sewer
water
system.
main?
There was
Move the old sewer line and put a new sewer line in, that they paid 100% for.
about a half-mile long old clay
Right.
tile
Just
sewer
the
line, I
sewer
think.
line then?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the building or anything. It's just
We
that-
still owe them for the water main.
No.
This is the only thing they're getting from us.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
300.
Thank you.
I think 390.
390, something like that?
Yeah, a little- just under $400,000. And this is TIF money.
Yes, and if they don't get the whole amount in the time, that it'll end also.
Yeah, 2035. Anything else? Okay, Leslie?
Councilperson Sexton,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
Yes. 395, Nick.
Resolution 1958, obligating funds from the Urban Renewal Tax Revenue Fund for the payment of annual appropriation tax increment financed obligations for fiscal year 2022.
So moved.
Second, anyone?
I'll second.
Jerry, seconds. Okay, this is our TIF due December 1st. I was going to bring up, as per our discussion last meeting, we were leaving some on the table, but I don't think we can do it now tonight. The 160,000 versus that we could ask for some increased value property, south commercial property. But I think it's just too complicated to squeeze in tonight, so I'm not going to think about it. Any other discussion?
So do we have a dollar amount, what we're asking?
Yeah,
for?
where is it?
I thought it was around 500.
500 and some thousand somewhere,
Yeah.
down near the bottom.
Oh, 542,380.
A couple of them we asked for whatever is available, so we don't have an exact amount on a couple of them. But 542, 380.26.
Yeah. That's on there, isn't
That's not including the meadows.
That's,
Oh, wait, it is on there.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
yeah.
This is all available.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm okay with all that. Any other discussion?
it? So that's about 80,000 more than we did last year.
Yeah, roughly, I
Say we were like 460 or something last year.
I think so. I don't remember the exact number, but it's around 80,000.
So in the future, if we get projects that are on this project list,
Or add new one.
or add new stuff, I mean, on this project list, we can roll them into this asking.
Yeah.
For instance, Hoover Highway, Cedar Johnson Road, paint the water tower number 2. And we got that to paint. We could literally ask for TIF money for that without getting carried away. All right, we got a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? Okay, Leslie.
Mike,
Councilperson Miller,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Schulman,
Yeah.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
All right, insurance, resolution 1959, approving our annual insurance renewal with Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield of Iowa for health and dental insurance. Motion, someone? Nick and Colton. Slight increase, not terrible though, is it?
It's going back to what it was at the beginning of last year, before we had the new policy that became effective January or February 1 of 2020. Yes, 2020. Just going back. If you talk to insurance brokers about it, what we have is a grandfathered policy. It's a very good policy. If we would go to another policy, the city would pay less for a lot less insurance, but the employees would have to pay substantially more. This is a very good policy, and as long as it doesn't cost any, doesn't go up unreasonably, we're okay.
It'll go over.
Mine went up.
Mine goes up every year.
Death and taxes.
Didn't it go down last
It
year?
did.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
did. It went down.
Well,
Now
cities
we're
did.
going
Yeah.
back to the same level it was before it went down. We were within $1.
It went down because we did some safety measures. We hired Jose.
No, that's word of mouth. That's where it's coming. This is basically the just health.
Nobody had no babies.
A yearly rate?
Pardon?
That's for the year?
No, that's one person per month,
Okay.
family coverage, 1748.
Okay. Let's vote, Leslie.
Councilperson Goodweiler? Goodweiler?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, can you hear me?
She must not be able to hear us.
We can hear you.
Okay, so I had Goodweiler first.
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Schulman,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
All right.
I just want to make a note on this. When we start talking about pay raises, we need to remember all the benefit increases that have taken place this year. That's all.
Item 13, progress on the capital improvement plan. What have you coming up with, Redmond?
Okay, so coming out of our work session Monday, I did a tally on the responses from the group. So there were individual rankings. I haven't went through all of those yet, but as a team, I was able to get a tally off of what you called your high, medium, and low, which translates to top, high, and moderate for the purposes of our budget process. So Wapsie Creek widening was the highest tallied project, followed by Greenview Connection, the West Branch School District turn lane, wastewater treatment process, and Hoover Highway project were all top projects. Followed with the high projects, high priority, that would include the Northwest End Booster Station for water pressure. The East Side projects all did well in being ranked high. And so that included the seal coat street replacements, as well as the water main replacements. And in moderate, there was the Cedar Johnson County Road. So for all intents and purposes, we'll be looking at the top and high for capital improvement priorities in funding in year 1 and year 2, depending on how those funding needs, fill out, and then usually moderate, depending on also funding, will probably be year 2 or 3, if not 4 or 5. So there are others that will be weaved in probably later years, but I would say that these projects ahead of you here, unless there's some changes that you want to make, these will probably be year 1 and 2 priorities.
Kevin, I have a question for you. Sure. All right, if we go with this, we need to put all these in our urban renewal or urban.
You can do, yes, you can do that. The water main replacement's already in there for the east side. You just gotta make sure that I think the road right of ways are all in the plan. We just need to name the projects. We should get a cost estimate for all of those. Obviously, we probably know what the school one is. We know what the intersection of Hoover is because it's the county had an estimate on that. So yes, we should add all those to there. Doesn't mean you have to use the fund to do it, but then it gives you flexibility when you're budgeting how you can do it.
So they need to become a project.
They need to become a project in the plan. And if
In
they're
a
not
capital improvement
physically
plan.
located in the area, we have to add them, but I think most of those are probably already included.
I had a question.
Yeah.
So I know we've done a lot of water main work along Main Street. So I'm pretty sure all that stuff on Main heading out of town has all been upgraded.
Isn't there one small section?
I can't foresee how, because
I thought there was still the one small.
Coming up Water Street, I think coming up Water Street, and intersecting Fifth maybe is
we've had
Need a
that
water
dug
main
out a
project.
couple times. We've had that dug up a couple
I
times.
don't know.
That would know. I thought there was one small section.
What's the question then? Is Main
So-
Street done?
If Main Street's done and we did Orange Street, then all the way to Sixth, then you would have fire hydrants on each end of the road. Correct?
I mean, up at the top of Sixth and Orange.
Yeah. If you took Orange all the way to Sixth and made that 6-inch, 8-inch main,
Let's see what you
put
mean.
fire hydrants along there. I'm not saying that that's the permanent fix, but if you got hydrants on each end of the street, then you come and do the middle one, and then you can work on the side by sides. And you know, as long as there's hydrants at each end of the street, and then once we get hydrants in the middle of that block, I mean,
Saying we should have protection.
we should
Should be
have the
closer.
fire protection
Should be
there.
closer
Then you
to-
connect when you get the money, you connect the middles. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, the hierarchy.
Okay, as long as you buy the fire department 5-inch main to hook to them. Portable main. Because you're gonna have to run all the way from the corner of Sixth and Orange all the way down to Crowley's and Stouts.
Another few
Don't
hundred
we
yards.
have 500 feet right now? Maybe 1,000?
I don't know.
500.
Where's Logan go?
Okay.
It's just gone.
Well, the point is, that's kind of getting up a plan to
Right.
a hierarchy of what we do next.
Right.
Well, that sounds like a
It's
good
better
idea.
than nothing, yeah. I agree.
We'll get,
We have to get down Lemon.
Goodale and Redmond need to sit down and, hash out a plan to improve some east side water main.
Goes in back there.
Well, right now, you can hook to the hydrant at, there on Catholic Church. That's a,
East Orange and Fifth.
there you go.
So I guess to Colton's point, I would ask Redmond and Goodale to sit down and hash out a plan to, what to attack first, and then what to attack second in terms of this east side water main improvement project.
Okay.
And how we get it paid for. Let's come up with the project first. Get it on our list for one thing.
Will do.
I'd really like to see Cedar Johnson Road, that actually get started as far as
Design work.
design.
Yeah, I agree.
That's gonna take, I mean, we're gonna have to do some road improvements on that before we ever get to putting the new road in, because if we ever get over this COVID, that event center is gonna be really busy, and that's gonna be, I mean, you're talking 200 to 300 people on average on a weekend to go down that road that is right now full of potholes and not in very good shape.
Semi trucks parked on the hills.
Terrible hill to pop up over.
We're definitely gonna need to do some road improvements on that
Either that or they'll move down to the next road. It'll be a neighborhood. I mean, if it gets bad enough, why wouldn't you go an extra block and go down to New Dawson? That's all nice and brand new. And then you got all.
That's where you're coming from, I guess.
Well, either or, if you know it's bad, it doesn't take much to go a minute out of your way. And then you got 300 plus cars going through. It should be a residential neighborhood. There's that to keep in mind now too, with that new road going in.
So what's our ultimate goal here with the CIP plan? We need to come up with a list that we attack. I mean, this is a good list, but I'm just not sure what's going to happen next.
Well, let's keep in mind we're talking fiscal years, not calendar years here. So if we want to plan in, say, design for Cedar Johnson County, starting July, when are we thinking of trying to get design expenses into our plan? Do we want to do it in
2021?
2021? That's now. You mean 21, 22?
But I think we also need to look at the long-term plan on that too. You design it now, you get some kind of a cost estimate, you wait 2 or 3 years and the cost estimate's gonna go up 20%. So we need to kind of have some kind of a plan. If that's a 5-year plan, then.
Well, not only that, we'll start expending money once we start paying for design. So we'll have to get a jump on expenses for that particular project probably a year in advance of construction.
Would come from hopefully some tips.
Correct.
Hey, I asked about this and everybody kind of nodded and said it was a great idea. But did anybody reach out to Johnson County to see what they would be willing to kick towards Cedar Johnson Road?
Yeah.
If it's nothing more than just the design cost.
Redmond and myself sat down. I don't know if Dave was in on it. We sat down with, it's called the Metropolitan Planning Organization of Johnson County. We asked them that very question. The answer was probably never.
They have a different philosophy. They believe all these costs should be borne by the developers.
They say developers pay for all their roads.
And I guess when you have so many developers, I guess you can have that philosophy, but we're kind of starting out. And, frankly, our developers are mostly homegrown. So they're not these big mega developing groups that have a lot of capital on hand. So there's a balance there to be struck.
That question was asked about a year ago, I think.
So when we inherit the cost of this, and maybe sometime down the road, it gets developed on the Johnson County side, and we start pulling taxes off of it, maybe we'll just tip it all, and they won't get any of their money.
I like that idea.
Either that or we can do one of them pioneer agreements. And then if you develop off of it, you owe us money.
I like that too.
All right, so we need to keep working on this CIP and come up with a real rock solid plan of how we're going to attack it.
Yeah, so now that we got these projects kind of laid out, now we can start looking at how to structure financing around them. Of course, something this big is probably going to be a GO bond, but we'll figure that out and start coming up with some recommendations on a finance strategy. And that'll be part of the budget process when we go through it.
Okay, I guess that's it for that for now.
So are there some projects that Public Works has on their list that need to actually become projects instead of just Because if they're not out,
If they're not in the plan, you can't use TIF money.
right,
Correct.
so
Yeah.
maybe we need to look at bringing some of those into projects instead of, so we can get some TIF and,
You're talking these on this little list or other projects also?
no, other ones also. Because I remember Matt had, a that's why we increased his budget by 250,000 last year, because of all these projects that he had. So,
Doesn't mean that he can't do them, it just means if we put them in
Right.
a project, then we can use a different funding for the general fund.
right,
But your capital improvement plan shouldn't be your normal everyday maintenance stuff that should be
but that,
taken care of.
which
That's
projects were?
like what? I mean,
I don't know what they were.
So if you will, because I hear you using the word projects and maybe getting confused a bit. If you want to call it big P projects and small P projects, you're just talking about where the funding source comes from those. So I think what Kevin was kind of explaining is that we're talking TIF funding for these, and most of the time that's going to be over multiple TIF years, and operational budget expenditures for probably small P projects. Those would be done in a 12-month period. So your big P ones that you know you're going to have to probably take out a GO bond. You're not going to general obligation bond. You're not going to likely pay that in 12-month period. You're going to have to make installments, and that's going to be reflected in your debt service. And your source of funding for that debt service is going to come over multiple years. And that's where the TIF asking that we go through annually comes in to effect. The smaller P, we can get those wrapped up within the budget. Usually you get to see what those projects are through the budget process, starting off with the goal setting process. So as projects that you like to see done, that you have desires for getting completed in the next 12 months, that kind of comes out of your goal setting process. And then we sit down and figure out how we can actually get those funded. And that's where we play around with road use tax and other funds that usually fuel our operational budget, primarily from general fund. Those projects are typically the projects that we've been working to get those done during the year. And that's where Matt has needed some staffing boost to get to those projects. And that's why we supplied them with those labor to help them get those projects done in that 12-month period. If that makes any sense to you.
Yeah. He was gonna pave the Cubby Park parking lot this summer, I think, this coming summer. It's one of those projects.
not only that, but if you can do it and keep it under a certain threshold, and you don't have to get engineers involved and bidding involved, the price always goes up the minute you make it a city project where you're hiring somebody else to do it. It ends up costing like triple.
Correct.
Okay, we got to keep working on this. I imagine we'll have some budget item, it'll come up at budget time.
Yeah, so our goal is to have our goal setting process first week of December. I think that'd be December 7th. So we'll have this will be a little bit more fleshed out. We'll have a sheet of paper just with these things on it, and then we'll have another group of sheets of the other things that will be more focused on policy and operational stuff. And then we'll go through our process.
Okay, are we going to try to do that at a meeting, before a meeting, or a work session?
Yeah, I think we usually do it the meeting before the meeting, but if you guys want to have a special work session for that, we've tried it a couple of times. I think folks usually like to meet on the days they normally meet, but we're open. I got an extra week in there to kind of pull everything together. So as far as timing goes, I think I can be ready whenever you guys want to be ready in December.
Okay, so that would be a goal setting session, and is that it?
Yeah, we'll weave this into the goal setting session.
Will we have some numbers with these, some kind of numbers?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be working on, trying to at least get the big year, the year blocks out so that we can forecast the immediate 1 to 3 years and those laid out for you, and that'll give me some insight on when we want to go out for bonds or whatever I'm not committing on what we have to do yet until I start seeing how everything lines up. Now, the challenge is I don't get to see assessed values until probably mid-December. So there's still a decent amount of educated guessing going on until we get those growth numbers in.
Wasn't a bond asking, does that require a vote? A public vote?
Oh, yeah, it will. This is just a plan.
Depends on what you're building. If you're doing a street project or something, no. If you're building a public building for a park, you would have to.
Street projects, no.
No.
To take,
Street utility
to borrow money.
projects, no.
Will you have that 15% that we asked for by then? Between the 55 and 70% of our debt limit? That number, will we have that number by then?
Probably not until you have you gotta get your values so you can figure out what the debt limit is, and then depending on how fast either county gets them out.
We got them in December last year, but before it's been January.
Yeah.
Okay, enough on this project, this subject. I guess we'll move on. Redmond, do you have a city administrator report?
Yes. So I think there's really been no real updates on the wastewater, although I understand that surveyors will be out this week to start doing some of the design work. I still have to meet with V&K to talk about our planning and design loan application that we'll put in. That's not due until January, so we have a month, but just wanted to tie the knots on that. We got, as everybody knows, the COVID is becoming a big issue. Governor had a briefing just an hour before the meeting tonight. I got a chance to see that, and also got a chance to visit with Jody Fleet over at Emergency Management Agency, and the information that I provided to you on the summary are what Jody calls her kind of cheat sheet on the latest governor's proclamation. So if you have seen it, they're getting longer because I think they just add on and add on. So now it's getting to be a mini Bible almost of proclamations. So they got a little cheat sheet here that you can kind of see. So we're probably now at a point that our meeting shouldn't have 8 people in a room, unless they're family members. And I know we're kind of like a family, but I don't think it counts as far as the governor's concerned. So we ought to maybe think about if we want to go back to having, I know we're kind of doing a hybrid model, if we want to go back to having some online and some in person, so that we still have room for unexpected audience members. Because it's real easy to get 8 people in a room real fast in a meeting. So that's something that we might want to think about. Probably proposing that we go back to appointment meetings for people accessing City Hall. I think we got most of the things out of the way, like utility billing and things like that. But it's getting to a point where we get folks that come in that want to meet that may not necessarily need to come in. They can, be done over telephone, and done if they do have to come in for face to face, they can make an appointment. Kind of the same thing we did, I think, back in March. These numbers now are indicating they're like double what it was in March. So it may make sense to reinstall some of those precautions that we did before. So any council thoughts on that?
I agree that I believe that we should be working our day-to-day for the city offices by appointment. I think this room's big enough that I personally like our council meetings in person.
I do too.
I don't know how we would do the goal setting and stuff.
Right, I don't know how
Via
we could do it
Zoom, I
without.
just don't think that.
As long as we
Right.
keep the 6-foot distance,
Yeah.
that meets the.
Would you be able to Zoom instead of showing up in appearance? And you can, Kevin.
Yep.
Yeah. I like Gordon and Leslie being here in Redmond. That's 8 people right there. 6, so that's 9.
You can put them over in the others, on the other side. though.
Yeah.
As
Don't-
long
So-
as they're 6 feet distance, that gives us our social distance.
Right.
So I'd like to keep staying in person here. And we can limit the people who show up.
So I'll indicate that, and I kind of do, and on the agenda indicate that it's strongly suggested to Zoom in. I'll just keep that language in there because we won't have a whole lot of room. I think the press I'd say the press came in today. So we're not going to have a whole lot of room for folks to come in, but we can always, make that announcement on the agenda. And then if the numbers indicate that it's going to go beyond capacity, then we'll have to be prepared to turn folks back home or.
You can also put out there that if they want to come to the meeting, maybe they could phone in ahead of time to let us know numbers, of how many in person they would like to. And then I guess we'd have to make a decision.
Just bring money like these fellas will let you in.
Like city property.
That's special invitation.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I'll add that language on the agenda too, so that we encourage, if you do want to come, call us so that we can get the appropriate number. That makes sense.
Okay, it's a work in progress. We'll keep working on it.
Certainly. So my updates are in red lettering, so I'm not going to go through all those different items if there's any questions you have, but I did want to kind of give an update on my recent meeting with Alliant Energy. I think we had a pretty good meeting. There were some pretty good sized topics that we talked about. One in particular was a desire to start seeking to put more of their lines, converting them into underground lines, particularly for our older section of town and our newer section of town that's being done. But as the ratio showed us, there's still some need to try and do more of that on the older part of town to help us not only with aesthetics, but also handle some of those type of storms. So there's a couple ways that they've seen other communities pay for things like that. And we kind of talked about franchise fees and additional fees that can be put on bills. for that kind of almost like a
Wait a
set
minute.
aside.
Wait a minute. Alliant wants to put their lines up, put the lines that they own and put them underground and then turn around and charge the customers?
Yeah, that's kind of like a big infrastructure cost for them. It's
So what?
they would rather clean up down lines than to invest in putting lines underground.
When's their franchise on?
You know,
About 10 years from
you don't
now.
have a choice. They're assigned by the state, so you can't get a different, yeah.
Let you do your own.
But with that being said, they do have some programs and they do provide some assistance in trying to do some of those things incremental. And if there's street projects that are happening, there's some economy of scales that they said, and sometimes they can do that when there's no additional cost. So it just kind of depends what kind of street projects are happening. And we talked about some of the street projects that we're trying to do on the east side of town. Well, they actually do a kind of cost benefit analysis, if you will, that will indicate how much cost it will be to put it in line versus keeping it above ground. So in some cases, that might not be, they said to me that might not even be a cost. They've had experiences with doing that without a cost to the community. So I don't want to make it seem like it's always costly, but this is what our discussion was, and we talked about those different strategies. This is really early on. They're going to forward me the franchise agreement because I couldn't really find it, but then we'll go in and see what our particular agreement says, and we can go from there. But that was our discussion.
Tied to land.
Forever.
No, that's not true.
Unless somebody builds a new power
That's
source.
still not true.
We could do it ourselves.
We voted when I first came on council.
For
they
gas.
wanted-
That was
For gas, we wanted to secede from Alliant and go our own way on gas. It failed, we signed an agreement. I voted no, we have a hard enough time running water and sewer, and it's free,
They're good at it.
so,
Why would we not have them do it?
but I wish there was a
Did you look
way,
at Mid-American?
what?
They can't serve here. The state assigns the service area. Mid-American cannot serve. It's all assigned by the state.
Well, who do they get to choose? Why do they get to
The state,
choose?
they can do whatever they want.
That's the fight that needs to happen right there.
Yeah, well, so that's why some cities have two or three, because they've made these areas way back when, and sometimes they don't make sense.
You call REC and ask them what their rate is, and then call Alliant, they're 30% cheaper. If, like where I live, if I lived across the road, I'd have REC,
I'm RSC.
you know?
You are.
That's just an assigned area the state made a long time ago.
If you want cheaper rates, move across the street.
Not a little bit cheaper, it's a lot cheaper.
Okay, anything else?
Okay. All right. A lot of interest in that area. So we also talked about our development and what they can do to help our development go smoothly. I know there's been a couple of times where we've been waiting on things from them, and I expressed those, and they talked about providing us with contacts and wanting to be more proactive in helping those issues get smoothed over. We also talked about the debriefing on the derecho, and there were some sections of town that took a little while to get to, and talked about the communication gaps and challenges that they had, as well as that we had also internally. And they said that they would be willing to, in future events, set up a headquarters, if you will, in town. And we talked about where could possible locations of that be. The fire station was probably mentioned mentioned at the beginning, although that it probably would not be good if it is an emergency that involves a creek over flood. So then I did let them know that the U.S. Bank building might be available, and they actually seem to be interested in that. So they are going to be checking into that.
We have a town hall.
I'm sorry.
They can go in the town hall.
Buy a trailer and bring it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bring one of their trailers to town. They can use it.
Yeah, and then they need like parking for several trucks too. I mean, like pickup type trucks. So someplace that might be able to handle 4 or 5 trucks, and like you said, a trailer. So they seem to be real interested in kind of making this a launching pad for their services going out in the region. So, you know, it sound good, and they said they're going to look more into that.
I have one more question. So,
Yep.
when we get these power surges and it blows my refrigerator and freezer and all this and that, can I go back on them?
You can file a complaint with the utilities board and see if they'll do anything, but these people the cities can't do anything to them. I mean, basically, everything's controlled by the utilities board. So, to who serves you, to what the rates are, everything. So, everything has to go, you know, they took cable companies away, the state franchises them, any complaints go to the utilities board of that too.
Well, our service from Alliant in West Branch, at least my service, is horrible. I drop, in the summer, there's no reason to drop service.
It's way better than it used to be.
Oh, yeah, 10 times better, 100 times better. Used to be out of power at least 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah, sorry. That's my
No, that's good, because they were asking me, and I know I've only gotten one complaint from a citizen, and it was more about their rates than their service. But I let them know that, and they seem to be
Call
really.
Voices on West Branch and look at the complaints
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
It's more than just.
The last rate increase, I actually wrote the utility board, and my argument was not that they raise their rates. I feel like a company can raise their rates any way they want, but the fact that they don't allow there to be any competition is where the problem lies, because then there's no checks and balances. There's nothing to keep them from keep raising their rates. They keep inviting me to come talk to the utility board. They send me emails, but I'm not driving all the way to
The utility
a
board is
tunnel or wherever it
check.
is they meet.
The Citizens Utility Board is the check and balance.
No, that's a joke.
It might be. They're bought and sold. Okay. That all, Redmond?
Yes, it is.
Kevin?
No.
Staff, Matt, Melissa? Wait, Melissa might know. Matt?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, it's down to us. I can't think of anything. Christmas Pass is being pared down even more. Probably just do the reverse parade, Santa parade on Saturday from 9 to 11. I think I'll still plan on handing out hot chocolate. Probably have my wife help me. If you guys want to show up, that's fine. A couple of you. I'll send you a text and invite you. And we'll probably do a tree lighting on Thursday night. Anything else, anybody?
I have something.
Go ahead.
I went to my granddaughter's basketball game on Saturday. Down the Lone Tree. I've been there for a while. They got this really nice new wellness center that is on a smaller scale that West Branch has been trying to do for 20 years. And that small town has a basketball court, a fitness area up above, possibly a racket court, and a walking trail all the way around the building.
I just seen it too, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's brand new. How much did it cost?
I don't
Any
know.
idea?
My guess is somewhere around 2 million, 2.5 maybe.
What town was that again, Jerry?
My guess is because it's a concrete structure, that they probably got some kind of a grant for some kind of a shelter of some sort in case of an emergency shelter, be my guess. Because it's all precast concrete walls. Because I'm pretty sure a small town like that could not afford a $2.5 million building like that.
My question would be, is it's kind of almost hooked to the school too, or real
Yeah.
close proximity. I wonder if
Across
there
the
was a
street.
28E deal there.
I don't know, but they got, between the school and there, they now have 3.
Wellman's got a nice little one too.
My,
Very similar to
I'm only thinking that is, there's probably some grants out there that if we were looking in the right direction for a grant, that we should be able to come up with.
I think Kelowna got one too.
I mean,
Maybe it's
that's a pretty nice building for that small of a community.
I said something
Mid
to my
Prairie,
wife.
wherever. One of those.
Well, yeah, that kind of died. We came darn close a while ago, and it was for $10 million.
Yeah, because we like to go well above and
We
beyond.
needed the
Yeah,
we needed the
like the
Cadillac.
We like the Taj Mahal instead
Because
of
we-
just the practical.
Because we want to build an Iowa City rec center in a town of 2,000 people. Been that way for 20 years.
But I thought it was,
My dad was on that committee. Tells you how long ago that was.
I remember that.
That was like
Okay.
the third. That was like the third try. They've been gone for over a decade.
it's something to think about.
All right. Someone's got to form a movement to get something like that, to make it realize. It just, it could just be us, but it needs more than just city council it needs a whole movement by more people to make stuff like that happen.
Well,
Such as a splash pad, which
we,
I'm failing on that one.
we've got this list of stuff we want to do, and we've learned that we don't have a heck of a lot of money. And we got we got $15 million worth of stuff we want to do, and only $6 million available. And now we want to add more stuff to it.
It's wants and needs. We got these needs that need to get done, and can't do the wants.
There you go.
I know.
Apparently, Lone Tree don't have needs. They just got.
They got 4-inch water lines everywhere.
We got 3 softball fields. Yeah. The people chose that, Tom.
Okay. Anybody, anything else? Motion to adjourn, then? Nick?
Second.
Jerry will second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Nick Simmons, thank you for you and your staff. You did an excellent job through this whole.
Okay, we got a little sale to follow through
That's
on.
what I said. You got a ball diamond. They got a $2 million bill. But they can use you around.
We had a fire, so
Yeah, not everybody.
Agreement.
You don't have.
You sign there, or then you sign, don't worry about that social security number,
Yeah, Rohrbach and Carlson.
which is by.
They did the whole plan.